Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is a temple complex in Cambodia and is the largest religious monument in the world. On a site measuring 162.6 hectares. Originally constructed as a Hindu temple dedicated to the god Vishnu for the Khmer Empire by King Suryavarman II. It was gradually transformed into a Buddhist temple towards the end of the 12th century. As such, it is also described as a Hindu-Buddhist temple. Angkor Wat was built at the behest of the Khmer King Suryavarman II in the early 12th century in Yashoharapura, the capital of the Khmer Empire, as his state temple and eventual mausoleum. Angkor Wat combines two basic plans of Khmer temple architecture: the Temple Mountain and the later Gallery Temple. It is designed to represent Mount Meru, home of the Devas in Hindu mythology. Within a moat more than 5 kilometers long and an outer wall 3.6 kilometers long are three rectangular galleries, each raised above the next. At the center of the temple stands a quincunx of towers. Unlike most Angkorian temples, Angkor Wat is oriented to the west. Scholars are divided as to the significance of this. The temple is admired for the grandeur and harmony of the architecture, its extensive bas-reliefs, and for the numerous devatas adorning its wall. As the best spiritual temple at the site, Angkor Wat is the only one to have remained a significant religious center since its foundation. The temple is at the top of the high classical style of Khmer architecture. It is one of the most important pilgrimage sites for Buddhists in Cambodia and around the world, having played a major role in converting Cambodia into a Buddhist nation. It has become a symbol of Cambodia, appearing on its national flag, and is the country's main tourist attraction. The modern name Angkor Wat, alternatively Ngor Wat, means Temple City or City of Temples in Khmer. Angkor, meaning city or capital city, is a vernacular form of the word Ngor, which comes from the Sanskrit Pali word Nakara, and Wat is the word for temple skulls, also derived from Sanskrit Pali Vata, meaning enclosure. The original name of the temple was Vishnu Loka or Parama Vishnu Loka, meaning the soft dwelling of Vishnu. Angkor Wat lies 5.5 kilometers north of the modern town of Siem Reap, and a short distance south and slightly east of the previous capital, which was centered at Ba Phum. In the area of Cambodia, where there is an essential group of ancient structures, it is the southernmost of Angkor's main sites. The construction of Angkor Wat took place over a period of 28 years, from the year 1122 to 1150 CE during the reign of King Suryavarman II, through 1113 circa 1150. The Brahmin by the name of Divakarabhatita, circa 1040 circa 1120, was responsible for urging Suryavarman II to construct the temple. All of the original religious motifs at Angkor Wat derived from Hinduism. Breaking from the Shaiva tradition of previous kings, Angkor Wat was instead dedicated to Vishnu. It was built as a king state temple and capital city, as neither the foundation stela nor any contemporary inscription referring to the temple have been found. Its original name is unknown, but it may have been known as Vara Vishnulok after presiding deity. Work seems to have been destroyed after the king's death, leaving some of the bas-reliefs decoration unfinished. The term Visnuloka or Parama Visnuloka literally means the king who has gone to the supreme court of Vishnu, which refers to Suryavarman II posthumously and intend to venerate his glory and memory. In year 1177, approximately 27 years after the death of Suryavarman II, Angkor was sacked by the Chams, the traditional enemies of the Khmer. Thereafter, Thay was restored by a new king, Jayavarman VII, who established a new capital and state temple, Angkor Thom and the Bayor respectively. A fair Khmer known dedicated to Buddhism because his king believed that the Hindu gods had failed him. Angkor Wat was therefore also gradually converted into a Buddhist site, and many Hindu sculptures were replaced by Buddhist art. Towards the end of the 12th century, Angkor Wat gradually transformed from the Hindu center of worship to Buddhism, which continues to present day. Angkor Wat was unusual among the Angkor temples in that although it was largely Neolithic after the 16th century, it was never completely abandoned. 14 inscriptions dating from the 17th century discovered in the Angkor area testified to Japanese Buddhist pilgrims that had established a small settlement alongside Khmer locals. At that time, the temple was thought by the Japanese visitor to be the famed Jetavana Garden of the Buddha, which was originally located in the kingdom of Magadha, India. The best-known inscription tells of Ukontafu Kayufusa, who celebrated the new Khmer at the Angkor Wat in year 1632. One of the first Western visitors to the temple was Antonio da Madalena, a Portuguese friar to visitor in year 1586, and said that it is of such extraordinary construction that it is not possible to describe it with a pen, particularly since it is like no other buildings in the world. It has towers and decoration and all the refinements which a human genius can conceive of. In year 1622, the poem of the Angkor Wat, composed in Khmer verse, describes the beauty of Angkor Wat and raised a legend around the construction of the complex, supposedly a divine castle built for legendary Khmer king, Briketmeli by Hinduka Visnuka. As Suryavarman II has already vanished from the people's minds in year 1860. With the help of French missionary Father Charles Aimé Bolivares, the temple was effectively rediscovered by the French naturalist and explorer Henry Moreau, who popularized the site in the West through the publication of travel notes in which he wrote. One of these temples, a rival to that of Solomon, and erected by some ancient Michelangelo, might take an honorable place beside our most beautiful buildings. It is rather than anything left to earth by Greece or Rome, and presents a stark contrast to the state of barbarism in which the nation is now plunged. In year 1861, German anthropologist Anton Bastian undertook a 4-year trip to South Asia, and his account of his trip The people of East Asia ran to 6 volumes. When Bastian finally published the studies and observations during his journey through Cambodia to Cochinchina in Germany in year 1868, told in detail but uninspiredly about whether a single one of his drawings of the Angkorian site, his work hardly made an impression, while everyone was talking about Harry Moor's posthumous work with vivid description of Angkor, travels in the central parts of Indochina, Siam, Cambodia, and Laos, published in year 1864 through the Royal Geographical Society. There were no ordinary dwellings of house or other sites of settlements, including cooking utensils, weapons, or items of clothing usually found at ancient sites. Instead, this is only evidence of the monuments themselves. The artist's legacy of the Angkor Wat and other Khmer monuments in the Angkor region led directly to France adopting Cambodia as a protectorate on the 11th August 1863 and invading Siam to take control of the ruins. This quickly led to Cambodia reclaiming lands in the northwestern corner of the country, such as the areas of Siem Reap, Battamborough, and Sissoufo, which were under Siamese rule from year 1795 to 1707. Angkor Wat assets were on display in the Plastic Cast Museum of Louis de la Porte called Musée Indochinois, which assisted in the Parisian Trocadero Palace from circa 1880 to the mid-1920s. In the 20th century saw considerable restoration of the Angkor Wat. Gradually, teams of laborers and archaeologists pushed back the jungle and exposed the expanse of the shore, permitting the sun to once again illuminate the dark corners of the temple. Angkor Wat caught the attention and imagination of the wider audience in Europe when the pavilion of French Protectorate of Cambodia, as part of the French Indochina, recreated the life-size replica of Angkor Wat during Paris Colonial Exposition in year 1931. Cambodia gained independence from France on 9 November 1953 and has controlled Angkor Wat since that time. It is safe to state that from the colonial period onwards until the site nomination as UNESCO World Heritage in the year 1992, this massive temple of Angkor Wat was instrumental in the formation of the modern and gradually globalized concept of cultural heritage. Restoration work was interrupted by the Cambodian Civil War and Khmer Rouge control of the country during the 1970s and 1980s, but relatively little damage was done during this period. Khmer Rouge forces used whatever wood remained in the building structure for firewood and issued out of between Khmer Rouge and Vietnamese force with a few bullet holes in the bas relief. Far more damage was done after the wars by artists working out of Thailand, which in the late 1980s and early 1990s claimed almost every head that could be left off the structure, including reconstruction. The temple is a powerful symbol of Cambodia and is a source of great national pride that has factored into Cambodia's diplomatic relations with France, the United States, and its neighbor Thailand. A depiction of Angkor Wat has been a part of Cambodian national flags since the introduction of the first version circa 1863. From a larger historical and even trans-cultural perspective, however, the temple of Angkor Wat did not become a symbol of national pride but had been enshrine into a larger political cultural process of French colonial heritage production, in which the original Tamil site was presented in French colonial and universal exhibition in Paris and Marseille between 1889 and 1937. In December 2015, it was announced that the research team for the University of Sydney had found a previously unseen ensemble of fairy towers built and demolished during the construction of Angkor Wat, as well as the massive structure of unknown purpose on its south side and wooden fortification. The findings also include evidence of low density residential occupation in the region, with the Draw Creek ponds and mounds. This indicates that the temple precinct, bounded by moat and wall, may not have been used exclusively by the priestly elite, as its previously told. The team used LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and torches excavation to map Angkor Wat. According to a myth, a construction of Angkor Wat was ordered by Iran to serve as a palace for his son, Brigadier Kamali. According to the 13th century Chinese traveler Zhou Daquan, some believe that the temple was constructed in a single night by a divine architect.